Hi, I'm Jason, and this is your commentary on Genesis chapter 6. Men began to increase their numbers on the earth, and daughters were born to them. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, so they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not struggle with man forever. He will die. He will have only 120 years to live until I judge him." Now, when he says 120 years here, this is a sharp contrast to what we just read, where Adam lived to be 930 years old, and Methuselah lived to be 969 years old. People living almost towards 1,000 years, and now God says, I'm going to have to cut them off. They're just too sinful. So he knocks it down to 120. Since then, no one's really lived past 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days. That was when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. The Nephilim were the heroes of long ago. They were famous men. Nephilim were also on the earth later on. And that's true. We do hear of the Nephilim, but just one other time, and it's going to be found in Numbers chapter 13. It refers to Anak and his descendants, one of which is Goliath. That kind of brings us to a number of interpretations for who and what the Nephilim really were. Some believe that they were giants because of Goliath, and because they were mighty men, but others believe that it was more of not a physical status as it was a spiritual status, being those who had known God and then had actually fallen away. The reason why I'm more inclined to believe that one is because it mentions the Nephilim as the children of the sons of God and the daughters of men. This is in context of the lineage of Seth. Seth, as it was said in the previous chapter, was in the likeness of Adam, and Adam was in the likeness of God. And so the sons of God is a common term throughout the Bible, referring to the chosen ones. Cain and Abel were not mentioned to be in the likeness of Adam. So it's possible that the daughters of men came from Cain's side, and the sons of God came from Seth's side. Now it's very important here. God tells us all throughout the Bible not to be unequally yoked, not to marry someone outside of our faith, not to partake with the world in their sin and their desires, that we are called to be separate. Well, he does this for our own sake, because whenever a problem arises, two people in marriage are going to go to their worldview. They're going to go one of two different directions. If you share the same worldview, if you have the same God, when a problem arises, you're going to work together. If you're not following the same God, you're either going to compromise your own belief, or the marriage is going to be split. So God constantly tells us not to be joined with people who don't believe what we believe. This doesn't mean that we can't be friends with them. It doesn't mean that we can't have normal working relationships within the world. It's not like that at all. He's saying in something like marriage, which is the highest relationship that we can have on earth. That's why it's so important to choose wisely who you marry. Now the Lord saw how bad the sins of man had become on the earth. All of the thoughts in his heart were always directed only toward what was evil. The Lord was very sad that he had made man on the earth. His heart was filled with pain. So the Lord said, I created man on the earth, but I will wipe him out. I will destroy people and animals alike. I will also destroy the creatures that move along the ground and the birds of the air. I am very sad that I have made man. But the Lord was pleased with Noah. Here is the story of Noah. Noah was a godly man. He was without blame among the people of his time. He walked with God. Now we've heard that term before. It was mentioned with Enoch, and it was mentioned with Adam, that they actually walked with God. Noah had 3 sons. Their names were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was very sinful in God's eyes. It was full of mean and harmful acts. God saw how sinful the earth had become. All the people on earth were leading very sinful lives. Often, people overlook this, especially when they have criticisms against the flood and God wiping out the earth. They don't realize how bad sin really was. These were not nice people that we're talking about here. Later on, after the flood, there's going to be a number of religions that come up. There's that of Moloch, where they actually burn live babies on bronze hands that were set on fire, with fire underneath them. There was Asherah, where prostitution was just part of worship for them. There was Baal, or Baal, where they would go around, the prophets would, and they would cut themselves. Okay? These were not practices that we would consider to be normal or even appropriate. Okay? That's how sinful it really was. So God said to Noah, "I'm going to put an end to all people. They have filled the earth with their harmful acts. You can be sure that I'm going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark out of cypress wood. Make rooms in it. Cover it with tar inside and out. Here's how I want you to build it. The ark has to be 450 feet long. That's 1.5 lengths of a football field. It's not some small boat that we're talking about. I know there's a lot of pictures out there of this little bitty boat with an elephant and a giraffe sticking their head out. That's not what this is at all. It's 1.5 football fields long. It has to be 75 feet wide and 45 feet high. That's 4.5 stories high on this ark. Make a roof for it. Leave the sides of the ark open and 1.5 feet from the top. Put a door in one side of the ark. Make lower, middle, and upper decks. I'm going to bring a flood on the earth. It will destroy all life under the sky. It will destroy every living creature that breathes. Everything on earth will die. But I will make a covenant with you. You will enter the ark. Your sons and your wife and your sons' wives will enter it with you. Bring 2 of every living thing into the ark. Bring male and female of them into it. They will be kept alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird will come to you. 2 of every kind of animal will come to you. And 2 of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you. All of them will be kept alive with you. Take every kind of food that you will need. Store it away. It will be food for you and for them." Noah did exactly as God commanded him. When it says here to take 2 of every kind, we're not saying every single breed, we're saying kind. Like right now there's about 200 breeds of dogs. Noah didn't have to take 200, or in this case 400, because it would be male and female, of all the different breeds of dogs. He only had to take 2 dogs, because they were of the one kind. Science says that our DNA, our chromosomes, are breaking down over time, the longer that the human species is around. It's the same with all the other species. You're losing information with each passing generation. Well, going backwards, we'd actually have, like right now we have a double helix for our DNA. If you went backwards about 6,000 years, you would have a quadrihelix. If Adam and Eve had a quadrihelix, that means that just 2 of them had enough DNA information to be able to give birth to anybody who's alive nowadays. Well, in the same way with these animals, they had enough DNA stored in them that just 2 of them of this one kind could have given birth to any of the breeds that we have nowadays. Okay, well that's it for commentary on Genesis chapter 6. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.